Hey, everybody. It's your healthcare BFF. I told you I'd come back. Hello, 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 hello. It's your healthcare BFF, y'all. How are you tonight? I hope you're great. I hope you had a good day and that it was productive and even a little bit fun. But yes, I am back to talk about caregivers and what they need from healthcare and what help they need in patient care. Patient is usually the person that's being cared for, the care recipient. Caregivers are the ones that have to go into the healthcare system and take care of that person's, healthcare issues, paperwork, etc. Well, caregivers have to be empowered to do that. A lot of times I meet so many people that have said time and time again, I was just drafted into caregiving. I didn't know what to do. I wasn't prepared. I didn't know where to get help or where to go. Well, now you have me. So you can do that. Just Pepsi. That's not to say I don't have wine occasionally, but that's just Pepsi. Anyway, I wanted tonight to hear from caregivers about I wanted to talk to caregivers about healthcare and what they needed in healthcare, how doctors are treating them. Do doctors actually speak with you, engage you as the caregiver that you are? And, every one of us in America owes a caregiver. Every one of us owes a caregiver a thank you. We do. Every single one of us. And I've been caregiver, still am in some ways. And I know how tough it can be. And I didn't even have to do heavy lifting or anything like that. As a mom, I was a caregiver for my daughter. My daughter has two rare spinal conditions that it took so long to get a diagnosis. We kept getting pieces of her diagnosis every time we went to the doctor. We kept getting pieces, piece here, piece there, piece here, piece there. But it wasn't until she was almost 20 years old that we got a full picture of what was going on in her health. In the meantime, I had to be her advocate. She's her own advocate now. But when she was a minor, I was her advocate. I had to speak up about her and what was going on and how she felt and her symptoms and how they affected her life. I had to speak up and ask for certain things that she needed, not what someone else needed, what she needed. You, as a caregiver, have to learn to advocate for the person that you're getting care for. It's that simple. It's that simple. You have to be that advocate. And a lot of times, what happens in the healthcare system is when you are not meeting with the doctor or having heard from the doctor at all, that's not the best patient care for that patient. That's not the best patient care for that patient. It just isn't. If the doctor knows that patient has a caregiver and has not engaged them in trying to get the best care for that patient, then it's not the best care for that patient. Caregivers have to be included. They have to be included on the healthcare team. They have to be respected and acknowledged for what they do. And we have to give them what they need. I'll tell you two parties that should be helping family caregivers right now. I'll tell you two parties. One, the healthcare system. They should be training with caregivers, engaging with caregivers, checking in on caregivers because, like I said a minute ago, if you hope to have the best patient care for your patient, then doctors must engage and talk with the caregiver. It just has to be done. What I don't understand is why it's not and why that's supposed to be acceptable. Now, I have a pretty big reason as to why doctors don't spend a lot of time with caregivers. They don't get paid to. They don't get paid to. I don't think there's anything, and I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure there isn't anything that says, here's the code to put in when you spend time with a caregiver for any doctors. Just not going to happen. So as a caregiver, it is up to you to engage the doctor. This isn't a one-way street here. You can engage the doctor. And if that doctor does not want to engage with you, then that's a major problem. That is a real problem. That is a real problem that needs to be addressed. You know, um, I've worked with hundreds and hundreds of caregivers. I really have. And the ones I've met, they're tired, they're exhausted, they're overwhelmed. This is why we should try to meet them where they are. Caregivers are isolated, overwhelmed, frustrated, stressed out. And on top of it, they have to pay out of their own pocket, on average, $7,800 a year to be a caregiver. Do you all know what it really takes to be a caregiver? You have to handle health care, patient care, any kind of care that that person needs, emotional, mental, the whole thing. Not only that, you have to be an advocate for that person. You have to be in their shoes at times, and you have to partner with the doctor. The caregiver does a lot. Now, the second institution that should be helping you is your employer. Your employer should be helping you with caregiving issues. Caregiving now is a public health crisis. What kind of crap is that? What kind of crap is that when 50 million people decided to do something noble? They're sacrificing their relationships. They're sacrificing their jobs, their marriages, homes, families to be a good caregiver. Caregiving itself increases your risks of physical, mental, and emotional issues simply by being a caregiver to a family member or loved one. That's simple. And I can't understand, with so much stress and so much overwhelm, why caregivers can't get the help that they need from healthcare, who should be training you on what to do with the patient, helping you improve patient care. And your employer, you spend 1/3 of your life at that place, probably more time there than with your actual family. So I think employers should be assisting with caregiver benefits, things like flexible time or working at home, remote working. Those can go a long way with caregivers to keep them productive, to keep them at work. And please do not get it twisted. Caregiving affects everyone, every race, every religion, every sexual orientation, every socioeconomic status, whatever you want to separate us by. It affects us all. Even if you don't know a caregiver, it affects you too. Because if caregivers just decided, hey, I'm done with this crap, if all 50 million of them decided that they were done today, and I know something like that will never happen, but if it did, healthcare would collapse, long-term care and nursing facilities would collapse, Social Security would probably collapse because they'll be paying more out through Medicare, which would also collapse. Home health would collapse. Do you understand? Our healthcare system is held up by nurses who I think are the absolute lifeblood of the system. They make the inside system work. But outside, when it comes to patient care, outside of the system, it's caregivers that do the work. Most of the time for free. Caregiving is a full-time job. It needs to be recognized as such by the Department of Labor. This needs to be a job. Unpaid family caregiver. We know that there are caregivers that work in hospitals and nursing homes and clinics. I don't mean them. They are professional caregivers because they get paid to work someplace and do caregiving for them. I am talking about people who come home every day and have to take care of their kids and their parents. That's who I'm talking to. I'm talking to the spouses that go home every day or are with their spouse every day and care for them. I'm talking about these next level angels, caregivers who care for people with dementia. That is, oh my God, outer limits. You all have my empathy, my sympathy, because dementia is a beast. It is a thief of everything to everyone involved. So to me, dementia caregivers are next level. They just are. So caregivers that are more caregivers that are next level to me are total care caregivers. The ones where their care recipient can't help with any care. The care recipient has to be lifted out of bed, fed, and changed. That's total care. That's next level as well. But I applaud all caregivers, and I have to tell you, I see you. I see you. I recognize and acknowledge you, and I applaud you. I know that you all hold up healthcare. You hold up caregiving. I know. I know. And the fact is that when caregivers don't have support with all the risks and all the extra they've taken on, they're going to break down. If they don't get help, they're going to break down. I watched it in my own family happen when my grandmother was at end of life. My mother was caregiving for her more frequently than everybody else because they lived in the same house. So it was just expected. But I've run into hundreds upon hundreds, if not thousands, of families that where the person that's sick has 3, 5, even 10 kids, even 10, and maybe one or two wants to contribute. It's just like that. I watched a lady in a nursing home I worked at. She had 10 children. She didn't have any cognitive decline. She had a motorized wheelchair, and she pretty much did everything for herself from that motorized wheelchair. If she needed a little help, it was provided. I said to myself, she has 10 kids. If everyone takes her for 5 weeks out the year, she didn't have to be in a nursing facility. But you see, only one kid was active, 2 on occasion. Why does that happen? Why, when someone is sick in the family, that other family members don't want to help? I can't understand it. I've heard caregivers tell me, oh, well, my brother said he just can't see mom like that. So what are you waiting to see her in a casket? You got to get over yourself and think about the person that is getting care. Think about it for a moment. Think about that person that's getting care. How do they feel? You know, how do they feel? What's happening? What's going on with them? Because I'm sure they have emotional stuff as well. They have emotional stuff as well. It's just the way it is under the nature of caregiving. It's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. And, you know, I hope that it would change, but it's a theme in too many families. They just don't want to help for whatever selfish reason they seem to have. And I know if I asked right now, hey, caregiver, have you had a hard time getting help from your family? In fact, that's what I want to know. Have you had a hard time getting help with caregiving from your family members? I want to know. I want to know. I want to know what caregivers need to be able to do healthcare, to be able to become the advocate they need to be for the care recipient. And these are skills they can use when the caregiver themselves goes into the healthcare system, because it's inevitable with your increased risks to physical, mental, and emotional health. You will be visiting the doctor more if you're a caregiver. It's just the nature of caregiving. So what I can't understand is why it's so damn hard. I can't understand why it's so hard for people to get help with caregiving. They can't. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you a stat. In 2021, AARP did a study. They wanted to know how much caregivers were actually providing, the amount of care with a number that they were actually providing for free. And that number in 2021 during COVID was $600 billion a year. You mean to tell me that caregivers provide 600 billion, billion with a B, big old B, dollars in free patient care every year, and they can't get help? They can't get respite? The services are few and far between, and the services are crazy because you either have to pay for them and be very, very rich, or very, very poor, poor enough to get on Medicaid. And that's crap, because there are millions and millions and millions and millions of people in those gaps between very poor and very rich, and I'm right in there with you, okay, that get the services, but the people in between are just left to suffer. You in between people, I'm your healthcare BFF. We're going to do this together, okay? I am going to be a new friend to caregivers while getting health care. That's it. Because caregivers need that help. They really, really do. They really do. Okay. Was checking my streaming. Okay. So we know caregivers have it rough. We know they provide $600 billion every year in free patient care. I want you to think about what would happen if that $600 billion, that health care and long term care and Medicare and Social Security, all depend on, what would happen if it disappeared? That's 600 billion. Exactly what I told you. Healthcare would collapse, nursing facilities would collapse, Medicare, probably Medicaid, Social Security, home health, health insurance. You've got to understand their value. Caregivers are valuable to us. That's why I have dedicated my career to helping them. Again, I saw the devastation of caregiving in my own family and so many others. There are people who were caring for people that didn't even get a chance to take a shower or have a chance to think. Doesn't happen. Caregivers have to have a non-negotiable self-care routine. It's not negotiable even for the person you're caring for. It's not. I wouldn't care if you started out with 5 minutes every day where you just went in the bathroom, cried and screamed, and looked out the window aimlessly. If that is your self-care routine, don't you give it up for anyone. Don't give it up for anyone. It's yours. You deserve it. You are a caregiver, and I hope that you identify as such. There are millions of caregivers out here that are just saying, oh, I'm a good son, or I'm a good mom, or I'm a good grandchild. You're all still caregivers. I didn't realize that while being a mom, but you really are primary caregiver. You really are, you know, for that child. And there's moms out here with disabled children that they have to provide total care to. That's rough. And even with my daughter's rare conditions, she's independent. She goes to college and she's going to become a nurse. This is just something that I want to impress upon you, to really, really make it so that you pay attention to family caregivers. There's got to be one in your family, or one that you know. You know, that person that takes care of your grandmother at home every day, your auntie, or even your mom. They're her caregiver. They're the reason why she can stay at home and not go into a hospital or nursing facility. The problem is healthcare doesn't recognize their value. Long-term care doesn't recognize their value. They don't. And if it's going to be the case that you are going to be a caregiver for someone, you must stand up, express yourself as caregiver, and let them know what you need. Let healthcare providers know what you need. Simple. It's simple. You know, I really want to know what caregivers need. I truly, truly do want to know what caregivers need, because I want to help them with healthcare, social services, healthcare paperwork, looking for services and help, health insurance, finding the best providers, being an effective patient, all of those different things. I'm going to help with at Elnora's Place. Now, Elnora's Place is my new project, and it's a safe, supportive, private community for family caregivers. I will show you the ins and outs of what I know about healthcare, patient care, long-term care, aging and senior care, patient advocacy. I will show you all of that in there. I created a curriculum to teach in Elnora's Place, and you can register for Elnora's Place at pacelovescaregivers.com. Go there, click it, the button in the purple bar, and you're on your way. So I truly, honestly believe caregivers need attention, more attention. And I think that, Medicare and, CMS, they're starting to really look at that too, because they're beginning to make it so that you can get reimbursed for providing services to caregivers. I plan on doing that with my partners. But right now, what I want to do is make sure that you join me on April 29th for my event. I'm launching Elnora's Place, a private community for caregivers. It's the Powerful Patient Partner Community. And you'll be taught patient advocacy, healthcare navigation, care coordination, um, making the most from appointments, dealing with a difficult diagnosis. You'll be able to do so many things and learn so many things there in a private community that supports caregivers 150%. 150%. So I thank you for hanging out with me for a little while. And I'll be back tomorrow with you, or maybe a little later tonight. I will do another live. So feel free to follow me everywhere at yourhealthcarebff.com. I mean, not .com, yourhealthcarebff. I am on Blue Sky, Lemon 8, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. So please feel free to follow me everywhere. I'm going to be here for caregivers. I want them to get what they need for once. I want them to get what they need from the healthcare system. I want them to get what they need from long-term care and every place else. I'm going to show you how to do the paperwork. I'm going to show you how to choose health insurance that's the best for you. All of it. All of it. So thanks for coming out. I'm your healthcare BFF. I'll see you soon. Bye.